It's Paul Kelly live on KEXP. Cold as Canada. Beautiful song from spring and fall.
And we'll go to the very last song on the record, which is like the aftermath song. And imagine it taking place maybe quite a bit of time after the events of the rest of the record. It's called Little Aches and Pains. Thanks for your letter, your kind words of comfort. It's good to hear from you again. I'm going okay, taking it day by day. You know what they say, can't complain. It's just these little aches and pains. I got 'em always now, sunshine or rain. It must be nice up there on the river. Maybe I could visit, haven't had a trip in a while. There's nothing much keeping me here. I see the gang maybe once or twice a year. You and me, we could walk a rambling country mile, test out these little aches and pains. When all else goes, they remain. Disabled we're born, disabled we die. Is that a cliche? I'll make it one. I hope it doesn't get too creaky. I have found that what you don't know will hurt you. What doesn't kill you makes you weaker, leaves you with little aches and pains. I got 'em always now, sunshine or rain. Ooh, these little aches and pains. I don't count my losses now, just my gains.
It's beautiful. Paul Kelly with Little Aches and Pains from the new album Spring and Fall. And when I first heard the album, the first couple times I heard it, I actually didn't listen to it front to back and hadn't heard anything about it, so I didn't know there was a story necessarily. And so songs would jump out to me, you know, like Gonna Be Good, and just certain ones and certain hooks stuck. But when I heard that song, Little Aches and Pains, I was like, oh yeah, I can relate. This is, you know, kind of about the body. You get a little older and you got your little aches and pains. And then I had one of those great epiphany moments when you really can get into music on a different level, right? When I actually listened to the record front to back and could connect all the songs and realize, wait a minute, you know, this isn't really about that. This is about more like looking back at relationships and your life and the aches and pains that maybe your body isn't feeling, but your soul is.
Yeah, well, you know, you try to write songs that can mean all sorts of things. I come from a big family. There's 8 of us, and I'm number 5. So I got older siblings, and we now have the 5-minute rule when we get together, which is we're only allowed 5 minutes to talk about our medical ailments. Used to be 5 minutes, now it's 5 minutes each.
Yeah. So you're an incredibly prolific songwriter, and I think a lot of people assume because somebody writes a lot of music that they must listen to or like music.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
is that the case for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you're a great reader too. You like reading a lot. Do you prefer reading or sitting around listening to music? Can you do both at the same
both.
time?
I can't do both at the same time. I got to do one or the other. Yeah, I love words. I like poetry. I like fiction. I try. I tend to read more on tour than at home, because at home sort of there's always things taking up your time. But touring is probably when I do my most reading, because there's so much. As Charlie Watts said, playing for the Rolling Stones, most of the time being in a band is waiting around. So I'm lucky to be able to read in a moving vehicle. Otherwise, I don't know how I would have got around all this touring.
Any good new books you'd recommend?
Well, I've been reading old books, so I've been. I'm trying to think of a more recent book that I read, because all I've been reading is I've been reading Ovid, which is pretty old. Remembrance of Things Past by Proust, which is a book, a big long book I read when I was much younger, and I'm rereading that at the moment. My mind's gone blank. Things just sort of cross my path, and I read them and pass them on.
Yeah. So a couple nights ago, you were in Minneapolis, and I saw on your Facebook page that after your show, you were able to stop by the Dakota Club.
Yeah, it's very, very, very lucky. Prince was doing 3 shows there, and this is the 3rd one, and we just found out about it the day we arrived. So
Prince was doing a hometown residency at a small little venue.
Yeah, the Dakota Club. It's a jazz club.
Yep.
And you're from Minneapolis, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, so you know it.
I've seen him multiple times at First Avenue, and then he got huge and would play the hockey rink or whatever. But for listeners that don't know, this is like a 200-300 capacity room. It's like the Triple Door.
Yeah.
And Prince was, what was he doing? Was he just was he trying out new material? Was he just jamming?
I didn't know a lot of it. I knew some of the songs, but he had a all-women band from. 3-piece women band plus him. It was Ida on the bass. They all had names that ended in A. Donna on guitar, I think, and Hannah on the drums. They were all awesome players. And Prince was playing mainly guitar. He went over to the piano for a couple of songs. I walked in on "I Like It There," so he had lots of audience participation. So he was getting the audience to sing along, which is always great. He was in a pretty good mood, bantering away. Finished one song, and at the end of it, he said, "I got to give myself a clap for that." So it's very relaxed, and very kind of quite jammy. But they were. It wasn't. The band was obviously really well rehearsed, because it would jam, and they would sort of break out. But then when there was a change or a bit coming up, they were really tight. They knew exactly what was coming next.
So I know he's pretty spontaneous, and he likes to do these sort of one-off gigs. And somebody asked him, well, why didn't he do it at his own place, like Paisley Park, the studios that he's got? And he had said, well, I would have loved to, but I had booked it out to the group Fun. And they were recording there, so he couldn't use his own studio. So he went to the Dakota Club.
The man's got to earn a living.
Paul Kelly, live on the afternoon show. Again, thank you so much for taking time out and playing for us today. Appreciate that.
My pleasure. I like to play.
And so should we look for you to come back on this album, back to the U.S., back to Seattle?
We're definitely coming back in between April and June. We're doing a 7-week tour of the States, and Seattle's definitely on the list.
Cool. Look forward to that. And again, thank you so much. Sounded wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
It's the afternoon show, KEXP, Seattle.